So how did we end up in this recycling crisis? While you vote, Jordan Evans will explain.
The story of recycling in America seems on the surface like a success, and according to the EPA, the percent of waste that Americans recycle has grown consistently and dramatically, from just 6% in 1960 to double digits by 1980, and then tripling by the year 2000. In 2017, we recycled nearly 1/3 of our waste. However, the economics of recycling have changed dramatically in the past 2 years, and that's the subject of our second question in the news quiz. Where has most of the recycling from Phoenix gone? So let's talk about the economics of recycling and how they have changed in the past 2 years. China once took 60 to 70% of the recycling from Phoenix, and they paid well for it too. In fact, the city of Tempe made over $500,000 off of their recycling. But now, since January 2018, China has significantly reduced the waste it accepts and the rates it pays. In Phoenix, take a look at how much the revenue from recycling has plunged in the past few years, from $13 million all the way down to $3 million. Smaller communities in Arizona have been among hit the hardest, and that's why I went to the city of Surprise, where changes to recycling in this city may preview what lies ahead for Phoenix.
So he'll get that material and he'll push it back and up.
When you recycle items such as plastic water bottles and aluminum cans, they end up here at recycling plants across the valley. But not everything you put in your recycling bin makes it into these bales. Instead, they're ending up here.
The problem is more with people putting too much waste in their direction. Pretty much of all plastics ever created, only about 9% has truly been recycled. And most of it ends up in the landfills. It's meant to last a long time, it's durable, it's inexpensive, so that's why it's created on such a massive scale, and it's just been increasing since the 1950s.
So when non-recyclable materials are fed into this facility, it comes at a cost because all of your items are sorted manually.
Contamination is absolutely a problem. So we as residents are contributing to this grand challenge in recycling right now. Contamination is enough of a problem that it's not only causing us to pay, but causing us to pay a lot.
As of August, Surprise decided to suspend its program because of this reason. But before that, the cost of recycling was already getting expensive when China imposed bans on plastic waste in 2018. A recent study published in Science Advances says nearly half of all of the imported plastic waste globally since 1988 will be displaced by 2030. That's equivalent to about 111 million metric tons.
They're expecting to get this, this delivery of plastic, and they get a bunch of trash mixed in, it becomes a problem. And why would they want to keep buying it if then it takes extra manpower and extra hours to be able to separate all that stuff out and then move on with the recycling process?
What was one problem has now evolved into two. Because China was receiving contaminated plastic waste, this has now created a much larger surplus here domestically.
It's hard to argue with the economics for some cities and towns that are small, that don't have resources. It's a big bite out of the budget now. We used to make about $600,000 off of our recycling, and now we lose about $500,000. It's $1 million swing.
Lauren Kuby with the city of Tempe says the city is struggling to keep its recycling program alive. So far, 4 cities in Arizona have suspended their programs completely, and several others are making huge cuts.
One of the advantages of pushing pause, like what we did, is this grabbed residents' attention. And so on social media and in person, residents are saying, what can we do to get recycling back? What can we do to make it work?
So for now, residents of Surprise can drop off their recycling at the Northwest Regional Landfill on Saturday mornings, and that's where it will be processed in a material recovery facility. Gent says until cost-effective solutions are identified, check with your city's website for information on what you can and cannot go in your curbside bin.
If I could explain 3 things, it's don't throw any plastic bags or any wrappables, we call them. If you are using a recycling container, make sure that you put your recyclables in loose, and try to use the internet to educate yourself on the items that are best being recycled right now.
In Surprise, Arizona, Jordan Evans, Cronkite News.